Hello everyone. I welcome you all for the session 4 of Unit 5, that is Memories and Programmable Devices of the subject Digital Electronics for the third semester. My name is Ishwar Kumar Nirade, working as lecturer in Electronics and Communication Department, Government Polytechnic, Mudod. So in the previous session, that is in the session 3, we have discussed the basic concept of ROM and the different variations that are available with the ROM, that is masked ROM, PROM, EPROM, EEPROM. We have left out one more variation that was available with ROM, that is flash RAM. So we will discuss that flash RAM or flash memory in this session, as well as in this session we will discuss the concept, or we will introduce the concept of RAM, and we will study the different types of RAMs or different variations of RAMs that are available, which are nothing but the first one is static RAM and second one is dynamic RAM, and we will do a comparison of SRAM and DRAM later. Then finally we will do the comparison between the RAM and ROM, and later on we will discuss some multiple choice questions. So let's begin. Flash memory. So as the name itself indicates, so flash memory, this is a kind of a variation, or this is a version of ROM only, and this is a non-volatile memory. Non-volatile memory in the sense it's the data retention. The data retention in the memory device is not dependent upon the power source. Means even though if the power goes off, or if the user switch off the power, means whatever the content that is stored in the memory won't be erased. And this is a version of EEPROM. EEPROM means in the sense, so here one can erase the content whatever he has written, or one can erase the content that was previously stored. At the same time, they can program it, or they can write it as many as the number of times they want. And here the selective erasing option is not provided, as in case of EEPROM. The selective erasing option was available, but here we can erase the content in a larger block. We cannot select a particular memory cell, and we cannot erase a particular memory cell. So here we should do the erasing operation in the larger block. Flash memories are so called because of their rapid erase and write times. So flash, as soon as you hear the name flash, means which means that it's fast. So it is faster in operation, because there is an or it provides, there is a provision for rapid erase as well as a rapid write. So it takes very least amount of time to erase the content as well as write the contents into it. So that's why these are referred as flash memory. Structurally, the flash memory cell, it looks like EEPROM cell only, single EEPROM cell only, but only the difference is it has got a thinner gate oxide layer in between the two gates of the transistor. It has got a thinner gates. So since it has got a thinner gate oxide layer, so the density will be here, it offers you more density, means it can store more number of bits compared to EEPROM cell. At the same time, the cost, when you compare the cost of the flash memory with the EEPROM or EEPROM, it will be somewhat less. Let us see the merits of the flash memory. As the first one is that is nothing but it is a non-volatile and rewritable. So non-volatile in the sense, the data retention, uh, it doesn't depend upon the power source. So, and it is rewritable in the sense the user can uh, write the content that he wish, and at the same time if you want to rewrite it, means he can erase it also. The read and write option is available here. And the density is more, as I told you, density is more in the sense it can store more data, and it consumes less power compared to the other memory versions, and it is less expensive. The cost will be very less compared to the other variations of the ROM, the cost is less, and at the same time it has got the fast read and read access time. So we can read the content in a faster rate. At the same time, its cost is also low, and it is more rugged and more durable. Durability is more here. And what are the disadvantages or limitations? The first one is it cannot offer the selective rewrite and erasing option. So this is the major limitation I can say. Since in case of EEPROM, there was a provision was provided to erase the content selectively. So there the user can select a particular memory cell and he can erase only those contents. But here the selective erasing is not possible. Uh, the user can erase the content of the memory in a larger block. So that is the limitation here. And it has as there is a limitation for the erase and write option here, so we cannot do the erase and write option as many as the number of times or infinite number of times that a user wish to. So here there is a certain limitation is provided for the erase and write operation. That is another limitation. There is a fixed amount of, or there is a fixed number of times with which the user can do an erase operation as well as write operation. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾದ ಸಲ ಆದ್ರೂ ನಾವು ಎರೇಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ರೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಎರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಮತ್ತು ರೈಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮೆಮರಿ. ಸೊ ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಬ್ರಿವೇಟೆಡ್ ಆಸ್ RAM. So this is a read and write memory. So where the user read and write memory in the sense ಯೂಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಸಲನೂ ಅದರ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ನ ರೀಡ್ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ we can write the information as well. It has both a read and write capability. So why it is named as random access memory? So the access mechanism is a random accessing is done in a random fashion. Random fashion in the sense, so irrespective of the memory location or irrespective of the position in which content is located, all memory words or our memory locations are accessed at the same, or for accessing them it needs same time. So for that reason, so it is referred as random access memory. And these are a kind of volatile memories. Volatile memories in the sense the data retention in these kind of memories, it depends upon the power. If the power goes off or if the user switch off the power, means whatever the content that is being stored in the RAM will be erased. Types of RAM, based on whether the data is held statically or dynamically. Based on that one, the RAMs are classified into two types. Very first one is static RAM or SRAM. The second one is dynamic RAM, which is nothing but DRAM. We will discuss the first one, that is static random access memory. There are two key features of the static random access memory. As the name itself indicates, static and random access. So here the data is held statically. Data is held statically in the sense here the periodic read operation or periodic refreshing operation may not be needed to hold the data. So data is held statically as long as the power is on. The same thing is written here. This is a kind of semiconductor memory. So here as long as the power is applied to the memory or as long as the power is on, the data is held there statically. And next one is it is a random access memory, as I told you. So random access in the sense for this is the memories, the memory, each memory location is accessed randomly and it needs a same access time for all location irrespective of their position. Whether the memory word is in the first position or memory word is in the last position doesn't matter. All the memory word locations or all the memory addresses, they in order to access them they need same access time. That is the second key feature of a static random access memory. Here, so this is the construction of static random access memory, that is SRAM. So here you can see static random access memory, it consists of, or it is implemented using a latch here. So latch is basically is formed by two cross-coupled inverters here. So you can see this is the first NOT gate and this is the second NOT gate. So these two are connected in the cross-coupled fashion. So these two will form a latch, and the latch actually these two cross-coupled inverters are constructed using four transistors. So you can see an equivalent diagram here. So in this equivalent diagram, one can see here each inverter is nothing but it is constructed by a CMOS transistor, which is nothing but a combination of PMOS and NMOS. So to construct a single inverter, we need a PMOS and NMOS transistor. And similarly, if you want to construct two inverters andaga, so obviously it is constructed using four transistors. The four transistors they actually they are configured as two cross coupled inverters here, and these cross coupled inverters hold two stable states. They can hold two stable states, means they can hold 0 or they can hold 1 here. So you can see here, so if you provide 0 as input here, the output of this inverter will become 1, and this 1 is fed as input to the second inverter here, and with 1 again it provides an output 0. Like this, they are going to hold the data statically. 0 will be holded here, or 0 will be held here, and 1 will be held here permanently. In addition to these four transistors, this is the first transistor. In addition to the T3, T4, T5 and T6, two more transistors, the T1 and T2. A T1 transistor and T2 transistors are also there. So these are required to uh, control the access of the memory cell. So if you want to have an control over, or if you want to do in read and write operation on these memory cell, on this memory cell, so these two transistors will help them, or will help in giving an access to are giving an access to this memory cell during read and write operation. So totally together, the two transistors T1 and T2, which acts like an access transistors during read and write operation, and the cross coupled inverters, which are formed by four transistors, together it becomes a uh, six transistor memory cell. So you can see here in the equivalent diagram, there are totally six transistors are there, and SRAM is also called as a 60 memory cell. 60 memory cell means 6 transistor memory cell. This is about the construction. Here one can see that during read and write operation, the transistor T1 and T2, the transistor T1 and T2, so they give an access control to this memory cell. So let me erase this. So whenever you can see that the transistor T1 and T2, the gates of these two transistors are connected to the word line. So here the word line are WL. So this is going to either uh, make this switches either turn on or turn off. So or they can get to opened or closed. That depends upon the status on the or the content on the word line. So if the word line content is 1 means, so if it is 1, the transistor T1 and T2 both will get turned on, and they acts like a close switch. So and they give an access control to the memory cell for read and write operation. And whenever the word line content becomes 0, the both the transistors T1 and T2 will get turned off. So whenever they get turned off, they acts like a open switch. And here the the latch or the cross coupled inverters is connected to two bit lines, that is B and B dash. So these are the two lines through which the sense and write circuits, which are connected at the bottom or at the end, will read or will write the content into memory cell. We will see the detailed operation in read and its write mechanism. The same thing is written here. The transistor T1 and T2, they acts like a switches, where the switching action is controlled by the content of word lines. So whenever the word line becomes 1 means the T1 and T2 switch, they act like a close switch, and the transistor will get turned on. And whenever the word line becomes 0, or whenever it is connected to ground, the transistor T1 and T2, they acts like an open switch. So this is what is written here. Let us see how to do a read operation. Let us say that this memory cell, it consists of some value. I want to read the value here. So during read operation, very first thing is the word line is activated. As I told you, the word line is activated means the word line should be connected to VCC. So whenever the word line is connected to VCC, or you can say whenever the word line is connected to a logic 1 state, both the transistor T1 and T2 will get turned on, and they act like a close switch which give and control access to the memory cell formed by the cross coupled inverters. Now if the cell is in the state x equal to 1 and y equal to 0, means let us assume that x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 0. If this is a state, then the bitline content will be, bitline content b will be 1 and b dash will be 0. B dash will be 0. Similarly, uh, if the content is if the cell content is 0, 0 means, let us erase this. If the cell content is 0, if x is 0 and y is 1, the sense and the right circuit which are connected at the bottom here. So ultimate ends of the bit line b and b dash, there will be, at the ultimate end there will be a circuit called as sense and right circuit. Sense and right circuit. This sense and right circuit is going to read the content of read the content of memory cell. So B line, 0 will appear on B line and 1 will appear on B dash line. This is how the sense and right circuit, which are connected at the end of the bit lines, so they are used to read the values. This is how the read operation is done. Next one, write operation. In the case of write operation also, we must remember that the ultimate ends of the bit lines B and B dash are connected with the sense and write circuit. Now this sense and write circuit, now it is going to do a write operation. Now it is going to do a write operation. So irrespective of whether you are doing a read operation or write operation, first thing or first and primitive thing that one has to do is the word line should be activated. Means it should be connected to VCC. So whenever it is connected to VCC, a particular memory cell is selected for read and write operation at the same time. And whenever word line is connected, or whenever the word line is connected to VCC, the transistor T1 and T2 both will get turned on. So whenever both gets turned on, they acts like a close switch. Iವೆರಡು ಏನಾಗ್ತವೆ close switch ಏನಾಗ್ತವೆ, and they give an access control to the this memory cell. For write operation, appropriate value is put on the bit line B and its complement value is put on B dash. Means let's say I want to write information 1 in this memory cell andaga, so bit line B nalli 1 anta information ಕಳಿಸಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. So as the B dash is complement of that one, we have to send a logic value, we have to send a complement value, that is 0 here, and the word line should be activated. Now the sense and write circuit, it sends a proper command and write the information on the bitline content onto the memory cell. The same thing is written here. This forces the cell into corresponding state. The required signal on the bit lines are generated by sense and write circuit. This is how we are going to do and read, as well as read. We can read value from the memory cell content. At the same time, we can write value into the memory cell. Next one, the second type of RAM is nothing but dynamic random access memory. So here the information, unlike static random access memory where the information was stored in uh, is a cross-coupled inverter which was formed by the transistor. Here we are going to use a capacitor. The capacitor is going to store the information in terms of the charges. So that is the difference here. So we won't be using a transistor to store the information. We would be using the capacitor to store the information in the form of charges. As we know that the capacitor has got a property, as soon as it gets charged, it doesn't hold the charge permanently. After a certain interval of time, or after certain interval of time, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ the capacitor, it has a property, it has got a property to discharge itself. So whenever it gets a path to discharge, it starts discharging its value. So uh, that's why the cell contents need to be periodically refreshed. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಈ ಸೆಲ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ರಿಟರ್ನ್, ಈ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಸ್ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಪೀರಿಯಾಡಿಕಲಿ ರಿಫ್ರೆಶ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಬೈ ಸ್ಟೋರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಟು ಫುಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮೆಮರಿ ರಿಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಪೀರಿಯಾಡಿಕ್ ಮೆಮರಿ ರಿಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಡನ್, means whatever the content that is stored here in the form of charges will get lost. A single DRAM cell is shown here in the figure. It here you can see a capacitor CS which is used to store the information in the form of charges, and a transistor T is here which acts like a switch here. So this is used to select a particular memory cell. This acts like a switch here. The gate of this MOSFET transistor is connected to word line. So whenever whenever the user wants to read an information, or whenever the user wants to write the information into a memory cell ಅಂದಾಗ obviously ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the word line first thing is to be done is that is the word line should be activated. So if the word line is activated, then the gate of the transistor is connected to VCC. Then I can say it acts like a closed switch and it gives an access control to read and write operation, or it gives an access to the uh, capacitor, so that the bitline content, the sense and write circuit that is connected at the bitline circuit can read and write the content into the capacitor. To store information in the cell, the first thing is, as I told you, the transistor T has to be turned on. So this is how the word line, if it is activated or if it is connected to VCC, then this transistor will get turned on and it gives an access to the, it can give an access to read the value of CS. And a transistor is turned on and appropriate voltage is applied to the bit line and capacitor gets charged. So whenever bit line is let's say if it is connected to VCC, and the word line is activated, means now the transistor acts like a closed switch, and with this VCC value, now the capacitor, it starts storing the charges, means the charge on the capacitor now they starts increasing, means they are storing the information in the form of charges. After the transistor is turned off, the capacitor now it begins to discharge. As I told you, I cannot say the capacitor can hold the charge permanently. After certain interval of time, the capacitor is going to discharge the charges when as it doesn't hold the ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರಲ್ಲ, ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಇರೋಕ್ಕಾಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಸ್ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Hence the information is retrieved correctly only if it is read before the charge on the capacitor drops below some threshold value. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಥ್ರೆಶೋಲ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಲಾರ್ದಂಗೆ, ಥ್ರೆಶೋಲ್ಡ್ಗಿಂತ ಇನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿರಬಾರ್ದು. ಅವಾಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ನ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಅದನ್ನ ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದು 1 ಅಥವಾ 0 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ರೀಡ್ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ದ ಬಿಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಈಸ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಸ್ಟೇಟೆಡ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಟ್ರೈ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನೈದರ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು 0 ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು 1. ಇಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ this bit line is tri-stated, means it can either pull up the voltage to 5 volt or it can pull down the voltage to 0 volt. That depends upon the charge on the capacitor. So if the charge on the capacitor is below the threshold value, then the bit line will pull down the capacitor charges, pull down the charge on the capacitor to zero level. Or if the charge on the capacitor is above the threshold value andaga, the bit line will pull up or it will charge the capacitor back to the normal value. Let's see the operation. A sense amplifier connected to the bit line detects. So here there will be an ultimate end of the bit line is connected with a sense amplifier or sense and write circuit here. This sense amplifier is going to, or it is connected at the bit line, and whether it senses whether the charge on this capacitor is above or below the threshold value ಅಂತ ಅದಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಂಪ್ಲಿಫೈರ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಥ್ರೆಶೋಲ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಗಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇದಾವ ಅಥವಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದಾವ ಅಂತ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಫ್ ದ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದನ್ ದಿ ಥ್ರೆಶೋಲ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, if the charge on this capacitor is greater than the threshold value, then this sense amplifier, it drives the bit line to full voltage. So bit line to full voltage ಗೆ recharge ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Recharges capacitor to logic value 1, and if the charge on the capacitor is less than the threshold value, then the sense amplifier, it pulls the bit line to ground level. So bit line ಅನ್ನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಗೆ ಪುಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, and the capacitor, it discharges to logic 0. This is how depends upon whether the charge on this capacitor is above the threshold value or below the threshold value. That is sensed by the sense amplifier, and it will pull up or pull down the voltage on the bit line to either 0 or 1. This is how we are going to do the read operation. And remember, this is how with this mechanism of reading, we are going to store the value back on the capacitor, or we will be storing the charges back on the capacitor, or we will be pulling it down to the ground. So this is how we do the memory refresh operation. If this memory refresh operation is not done periodically, means whatever the content that is stored on the dynamic RAM memory cell will get erased. So this is a problem with dynamic RAM. But the thing is, as a capacitor is used here as a key element to store the information, it offers you very high density. At the same time, the cost also will be less compared to SRAM. But since it needs a memory refresh operation, it is somewhat slower compared to SRAM. We will see the differences between SRAM and DRAM. So here there are list of differences are here. The very first one is the transistors. Here the key element that is used to construct SRAM is the transistors, and here in case of DRAM, the capacitor is the key element that is used to store the information. Here the memory refresh operation is not needed in case of SRAM, as there is no capacitor involved here. But in case of DRAM, as it is built up, or it is made up of, or it is here the capacitor is used to store the information andaga, obviously enagutte, it needs a periodic refresh operation. And SRAM is faster as compared to DRAM here, and DRAM is somewhat slower. SRAM is expensive, as we can see. SRAM is constructed using 6 transistor cells, so obviously its cost will be high compared to the DRAM, which is constructed using only a single transistor and a capacitor. And SRAMs are of low density, whereas the DRAMs they are of high density, means they can store more information. SRAMs are used in cache memories, in constructing cache memories, and whereas in case of DRAM, these are used in main memories. So SRAM has got a shorter read and write cycle, they are faster in operation, whereas DRAM, they have got longer read and write cycle, so it needs certain more time compared to that of SRAM for accessing it. Here, in order to construct SRAM, it needs a larger space, whereas Uh, the DRAMs, they need less or small cell area is required, and SRAMs are going to consume more power as the number of transistors are more here, whereas in case of DRAM it consumes less power. And the SRAMs are manufactured with bipolar and MOS technologies, whereas the DRAMs are manufactured with only MOS technologies. These are the key differences between SRAM and DRAM. In your examination, this question will be asked for 5 marks. Similarly, uh, this is the slide which will show you the comparison between the RAM and ROM. So RAM is a kind of volatile memory, whereas ROM is a kind of non-volatile memory. The volatility and non-volatility depends upon the uh, retention of information based on the power or not. So in case of volatile memory, the the content of the memory will be erased as soon as the power goes off. But whereas in case of non-volatile memory, the data retention in the memory, it doesn't depend upon the power. Next one, the second difference is it is a read-write memory. In case of RAM, uh, we can read it as many as the number of times. At the same time, we can erase it and we can write the information back again. But whereas ROM is a kind of read-only memory, means once the information is written here, means that cannot be erased, uh, which is not true actually. In the modern versions of new versions of ROM, the erasing option is also available. But as a part of making the differences here, it can be referred as a read-only memory. Means once the information is written here, it can be read many times. And third one, it loses the data stored in it whenever the power is turned off. That is the volatile definition. And the data retained inside here won't be erased as soon as the power goes off. So there is a non-volatile thing here. And it is a temporary storage, and it is a permanent storage. So here the RAM is costlier than ROM, whereas this ROM is cheaper. RAM can hold large amount of data as compared to ROM, and the ROM will offer you less storage. RAM is faster, ROM is slower. The data in RAM can be modified easily, but whereas in case of ROM, it is very hard for the programmer or the user to modify the data. That is the last difference. Now let us discuss some multiple choice questions. Very first one is RAM is also known as RWM, that is read write memory, PROM, EPROM, and none of the above. Obviously, the answer is RAM is a kind of read write memory. The first one is the answer. Second one, a RAM is a non volatile memory. Second, option B, only static memory. Option C, only dynamic memory. Option D, volatile and either static or dynamic. So, RAM it is a volatile memory. At the same time, there are two variations of RAMs are available, that are static, or it could be static or it could be dynamic. The option 4 is the answer. The density of dynamic RAM is first one more than that of static RAM, second one less than that of static RAM, option C equal to that of static RAM, and option D none of the above. Obviously, since dynamic RAM is constructed using single transistor and capacitor, it offers more density than the static RAM. So option 1 is the answer. A periodic recharging of memory cells at regular intervals is required in option A RAM, so ROM, option B PROM, option C static RAM, and option D dynamic RAM. So as we discussed in the previous slides, the dynamic RAM, it needs a memory refresh operation which should be done periodically to hold the data there, otherwise the data will be lost. So the option 4 is the dynamic RAM is the answer for this. Fifth question. The advantage of dynamic RAM over static RAM are ಏನೇನಪ್ಪ advantage? First one, low power consumption. Second one, high capacity. Third one, low cost per bit. And fourth one, all of the above. Obviously, uh, the answer the answer would be all of the above, because dynamic RAM, it consumes less power, and it offers more capacity, and its cost is less compared to that of static RAM. So that's why the answer is all of the above. Question number 6. Dynamic RAM employs first option capacitor or MOSFET. Second option FET or JFET. Option C capacitor or BJT. Option D none of the above. Dynamic RAM, it employs the option A capacitor or MOSFET. That is the answer. Question number 7. Computer memory, which is used to store the program and data that are currently being used by CPU. Option A ROM, option B PROM, option C RAM, and all of the above mentioned. Obviously, the answer would be option C RAM. RAM is used to store the program and data that are currently being used by the CPU. Question number 8, that is flash memory is a volatile memory. Option B non-volatile memory. Option C both, and option D none of the above. The answer would be a flash memory is a variation of the ROM, means it is a kind of non-volatile memory. The data retention here doesn't depend upon the power applied. With this, I'm going to conclude this session. I thank you, Uma Maheshwar sir, who is being the moderator of this course, and Lalita madam, the subject expert, and myself Ishwar Kumar Narade, and Sriti ji, who is my colleague from GPT Harapnadi. Thank you.